So I'm just wanting to introduce you to this lawn. This is for those of you who are on a very low budget and are just looking to scarify your lawn and then feed it, and then that's you done for the spring, and then just regular feed throughout the summer. Not all my lawns are looking like Wembley. We do have the ones that do look like this because they just don't get the same attention, and this is what happens. So I laid this 7 years ago, just gone. Actually ended up in A&E after, because I, on my last roll, went to pat it down, and there's a big Juliana thorn off the Berberis over there, and they're about 2 inches long, and it went straight through my hand. Left it for a week because nobody had touched it, and I just thought Christmas Day I'm gonna have to go and do something about this. They wouldn't touch it, and then the day after the Boxing Day I just said I'm off to A&E, and within 15 minutes, bit of lidocaine, a scalpel, it was out. So I'll just upload the picture so you can have a look at it. Now, just walking over the lawn, we can see quite a few weed grasses that I've gotten in. Some of these would have been in the turf when we bought it. Very difficult to get turf without weed grasses in it, unfortunately. All the chemicals that they use to take these out have been took off, so it's no longer possible. So that's why I don't really do turfing anymore. Also, the birds falling on this tree, landing on this tree and then dropping the droppings as they fly off. Lots of bird feeders in the area, and they eat the seeds. And like at the circle job that I said last year, they then, you know, excrement the seeds out, and then they're fertilised, and then they grow, and this is what's happening here. And because we don't get that regular scarifying and vertical, they're just left to grow on their own. So this is a good example of those, like I said, those who have a lawn like this but just want to treat the moss, feed it, and on you go. And we can get this looking decent. You know, you'll be surprised. Because it's a fescue and a smooth stalk meadowgrass base lawn with this perennial ryegrass in there, the two that I mentioned first, the fescue and the smooth stalk meadowgrass, they'll regenerate. So we can scalp this, and we don't have to seed it or over and top dress it, and we won't be doing, just because of that budget. Or moss treating today, should I say, and then feeding it once we've scarified it in a few weeks, and then that'll be us away on this lawn. And with regular cuts we can get this looking half decent. Bit of red thread knocking about, but we'll take that out when we do the scarifying, and then when we feed it, that'll stop that coming back. But other than that, it's time for the first cut, so let's get on with it. The mower's out. Yeah, the mower's out. We'll just cut this on 3 today. 2 will just be too much, it'll just scalp it, because we haven't got we didn't do it last year. The customer scarified it last year, but he only used like a springtime scarifier, so it's not had the blade treatment for a couple of years, so I'm going to do that this year. So let's get that moss treated, and then we can scarify in a few weeks. Let's get on with it. So it always amazes me when I turn up and I think, oh my god, it's looking awful. And you give it its first cut, and then you think, it doesn't actually look that bad. What we have exposed is our moss issue. But again, this is easily sorted. I said no weed killer today because we haven't got any weeds, because that is something we do keep on top of here. And because we're not putting any seed down, if you did want to add some weed killer, you can go off the weed oil plan and use something else like the Vitex for lawns or the Roundup for lawns, and these have the 2,4-D and Mecaprop and dicambrin, I think. So they don't, because you're not putting the seed down, the seed won't be affected by that. So you can, like I say, use a different one if you want to. And they are, to be honest, they are better weed killers. They're just, say, not the old generation. And I think on my Facebook group I said some of these ingredients were using Agent Orange in the Vietnam War, so that just shows you how harsh they are. So that's why I like to use the other one, just because it's a new generation weed killer. So we're going to mix my tank now. We're going to put some soluble iron in there, and some Galactic Green, because we want the iron to do the moss control, but then we want the nitrogen in the Galactic Green as well as that extra iron treatment in there, so we can get a bit of growth, a bit of moss control at the same time. And if you imagine scales, we're kind of tipping the favour of the scale towards a lawn rather than the moss in that respect. So I've got everything in my van that I need, so let's get it out and let's get it sprayed. So just following the same routine as last week, get your soluble iron and pour it into the water rather than pouring the water into the soluble iron. 2 grams per square metre, so I've got 400 in here because I've got to do the back garden as well, and then I've got 800 of Galactic Green. Okay, so that's the iron on. That's part 1 of a low budget lawn care done and dusted. You can already see that the moss is already starting to turn black. We just look down here, it's already started going, so that's good. Customer always likes to see something happening straight away, so they know they've got the money's worth than doing something when they don't see the benefit straight away, and then they start saying like, "Oh, has it worked?" So this is a good way to get that kudos of the customer, which I surely will, especially in the back. I'm not doing the back because they don't want to be involved with that. They just want that to remain private, so they've allowed me to do the front. So onwards and upwards for this. Join me next time in a couple of weeks when we shall hopefully be getting on with some scarifying, and then we can get it fed, and this one will then be away. But yeah, it's looking good already, so see you in a couple of weeks.